All right, what is up, everybody? So, Shell Scout 0013 here, coming in with another Star Wars Unlimited video with Kylar, the Wookiee Extraordinaire.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about Command and the different leaders and the top 5 cards that we recommend in a deck for Command. And first off, we have Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, the man himself. Largest health of any unit leader, the slowest unit leader, coming out at 8 resources, but he's got an incredibly powerful ability to take control of a damaged non-leader unit when he's deployed. Um, he's uh, he's very good he's a very good control leader, and if the meta slows down where Sabine isn't being run all over the place, he definitely has a place. But you're probably not going to see him um, making top tables, but super thematic, super fun, and definitely needs to get respected if control ever gets any better or more popular, because he's the control leader for control leaders.
Nice.
Um, Grand Moff Tarkin in the same colors. A little bit faster leader coming out on 5. Those leaders who can come out on 5 are typically pretty darn good. Boba Fett, Leia, Tarkin. Um, and the reason why is because they impact the game sooner. And the sooner that you can get them deployed and impacting the game, the better. He definitely puts you all in on Imperials, but that's okay because there are a lot of really good Imperial keyword units in the game. Um, and Leia is worth talking about as well. The opposite of Tarkin is Leia, where she is all about rebels, 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 rebels. And she's going to be an aggressive leader, probably pairing her with Tarkin Town for the aggression combo. And you just want to play a bunch of cheap dudes and swing them into the base and get to double attack with her ability over and over and over.
Nice. Because then, all right. So just real quick, as an action, you're going to use the action to attack with a readied unit, and then you're going to
hmm
attack with another rebel unit that is not exhausted. Um,
hmm
And so it's not like when you attack with a unit, then you use her action to attack with another one. It's just you use her action to attack with someone and then another one, right?
That's right. Yeah, her ability is in and of itself giving you a trigger that you resolve, and that trigger is, or that action ability is to make 2 attacks if possible. So if something were to happen while attacking with one of those units that would make another one not available anymore, that's okay. It'll just do as much of the ability as you can. But if you do have 2 guys that are both ready and that could attack, you can use your ability and just attack with the one, resolve it, and then attack with the next one. And that allows her ability to effectively give you a 2-for-1, where your opponent has to pass their priority, right? If they wanted to attack you twice, they'd have to attack, and then they'd have to give you a chance to respond, and then they attack again. And she gets to cheat and gets around that. And oftentimes that's what makes her so powerful, is that she has the ability to trade. And there are some rebels, like Two Tubes in the red color, who after he attacks, he buffs other rebels. Well, guess what? Now your opponent doesn't have a chance to respond to that buffed effect, and you get to immediately take advantage of the raid 2 that he gave your other unit. So there's definitely some combos and some synergies there with getting to double attack, but mostly it's the ability to just have the better action economy, and the fact that you're 2-for-1ing, you're going to hold initiative more than your opponent because of that. And she comes out on 5, which also makes her incredible.
Man, that's so good. All right, and then the best base for green that we have.
You mean the best base?
Best base, yeah,
The best
period.
base in the game. Yeah, Energy Conversion Lab. It's not a mystery. Everybody knows it's the best base in the game. Ambush on a unit that costs 6 or less. Right. So, um, boy, what else is there to say? I mean, I guess for those who are new to the game, yes, you do still pay for the cost of the card that you're playing, but giving that card Ambush is huge. Most of the time, that is the difference between a literal win or a loss. If you like trace it back down, and it's because you were able to trade in your unit to the thing that you wanted to early on, and it got you that really crucial 2-for-1 trade that winds up snowballing you into the late game. So oftentimes you'll pretty much see if someone's playing command, they're almost certainly playing as a base. If they're playing a green base, it's almost certainly going to be the ECL, their Energy Conversion Lab.
Nice.
Um, yeah. And now to talk about the top five cards, and we're gonna jump into villainy first. Um, I really wanted to start off with kind of like a just a staple. Seasoned Shore Trooper. It's just good. He's a 2/3 for two. That's fine. But the fact that he comes out at the end of the game and he's still relevant later into the game as a 4/3, 4/2 doesn't change the cost of the card, but definitely gets more powerful. Um, boy, that's just good. There's nothing bad about that card. Such a staple. Um, the next card though is definitely on the overpowered side. I would almost argue, and it's because it's ramp. If anybody's ever played any other card game, resource ramping is powerful because it provides you an opportunity to play bigger things before your opponent. But in this game, it's extra powerful because it means that you can play your leader before your opponent too. So if my opponent has a 6 cost leader or a 6 resource leader, and I have a 6 resource leader, then um, the the ability to have the super laser technician die and turn into a resource is going to wind up making it so that my leader's out first and I'm getting to take advantage of their power first. So super laser technician is awesome. Oh, and he also comes into play as a resource ready, which is significant because sometimes if he dies on the following turn, it means that you get to take full advantage of the resource that he provides you, like right away.
Yeah. Nice. Then we have Rook.
Um, One of the most misunderstood cards out there, I'd say.
Yeah, even I
But
had a
it's
question on this
people
one.
think, yeah, people think, yeah, there's a lot in that bold section, right? So all of the parts in bold are the requirements for triggering. So it's when he deals combat damage. That's requirement number one. To a non-leader unit, requirement number three, while attacking, requirement, or sorry, did I say that right? Deals combat damage to a non-leader while attacking. All three of those conditions must be true to gain the trigger, and then the trigger is defeat the unit that he dealt combat damage to. So that's a lot to think about, right? So most of the time, people just thought it was very overpowered. People equated it to Death Touch from Magic the Gathering. That's not the case for him. He only gains quote unquote Death Touch in this very specific sense, but because he's a shielded unit, that's what takes him over the edge, right? So, and the fact that you're playing green, uh, if you have Energy Conversion Lab, he costs less than 6. And so now all of a sudden you have this guy who can come from hand into play, ambush a unit, kills that unit, and then depending on how you stacked your triggers for the shield or the ambush, he either has killed their unit, has a little bit of damage on him, and has a shield, or he took no damage and his shield popped off from when he did the trade. So it depends on how you sequence those triggers. But very powerful card, super worth mentioning. Not an auto include in all forms of command villainy, but definitely makes you uh, have to take a second look. And I think he's very good into the control mirror because he needs to get answered because he can trade up very effectively. He trades up with a lot of cards really, really easily.
Nice. So yeah, whenever you do combat damage, it's when you are attacking, and then you would have your shield to prevent damage, and then even if it's like a Vader, even if you just
Yeah, if
did
he
three
attacks
damage.
that's right. Yeah, if he attacks a Darth Vader, if he attacks a Blizzard Assault AT-AT, doesn't matter. The shield keeps him protected, and his ability triggers. And again, as long as it's not a leader and he's attacking, that unit is defeated. That unit dies. So very very powerful while you're attacking. And again, that's why giving him ambush can be so potent because your opponent isn't able to respond off of it.
Yeah, that's so good. And then,
And speaking of Vaders, he's our next card,
yeah,
Darth Vader. So Darth Vader is not just the top of the not on the top not just the top of the list for command villainy. He's in the top of the list for all cards in the game. He is a legendary card, cost 7, ambush 5/7, awesome stats. awesome ability with ambush, but his other when played effect, so ambush is one when played effect. The other when played effect is to search the top 10 of your deck for any number of villainy cards that cost 3 or less, and you get to play each of them. And then now, unlike the Energy Conversion Lab that doesn't say the word free, he does. He plays them for free. So you can search through your deck and get a Boba Fett. You can get a Seventh Fleet Defender. You can get a stormtrooper and a seasoned shore trooper, because again the combined cost has to be 3. So the fact that he can play multiple units, he can play a death trooper, which comes in and immediately deals 2 damage, which gives him a little bit of extra reach, because the trigger for depending on how you do the sequencing, you can do the ambush after his when played search. So you can get the Death Trooper. He comes out, he triggers, he deals 2 damage, and then you do the ambush, and then untap, and then you swing into. It's just so many good things happening on that card. Um, so again, um, 10 out of 10 card. Um, Auto include if you're in these colors.
Nice. Yeah, he's
And
nothing
then the
else.
other auto include in these colors is the event Overwhelming Barrage. Um, it buffs a unit by +2/+2. That lasts for the entire phase, so until the end of the turn, basically. And then it deals damage equal to its power divided amongst any number of units any way you choose. So right there, that gets to just Gatling gun, shotgun down, so many different units, finishing them off, while also providing you with a buffed unit in the exact same time to close out the game. I mean, that is powerful stuff. If you had a Vader live on the previous turn and, threatening to just deal 7 damage divided across their board, and then now have a 7 power Vader who's going to attack on the next, action, super scary. And I love the fact that it's +2/+2, so it also gives that unit a little bit of extra health hopefully allow it to survive. As you give the action back to your opponent to survive, so that it comes back to you and you can use it to attack.
Yeah,
So very, very good card.
and that was
I
one.
don't see any villainy decks not running this right now.
Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to make sure that people understand is like when you're giving the unit +2/+2, you're including that in the damage dealt with its
It
power,
happens
correct?
first. Yeah, yeah. You have to do them in order. So yeah, the +2/+2. So if you popped it onto a Vader, you're doing 7 damage onto the board. With the overwhelming barrage, because his 5 power goes to 7, and then it checks the power, and then it uses that number to deal the damage. So yes, absolutely, it definitely works that way, and it is what makes it so strong. So even even in the worst universe where you had to play that on like a shore trooper, um before you have a 6th resource, it's still like 4 damage, right? Like it's the worst like kind of world that you're ever be in that you'd have to do that, but hey, you do what you have to do, right? But most of the time this card is going to be doing 6, 7, 8 damage easily.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. And so next
And
up
then
we
I
have
think we're ready for heroism, huh?
yeah,
um Alliance Dispatcher. I think a lot of people might have overlooked this guy, but outside of your hyper aggro decks, any command heroism decks that I've been playing, um, I like him. I think in Luke he's incredible because you can shield him on the first turn that you play him, and then you're basically playing all of your units and being able to shield them for this, on curve. So, for example, you can Alliance Dispatcher, pop a shield on him, play Admiral Akbar on the next turn, but only spend 2, and then you can shield Admiral Akbar, or you can play an Echo Base Defender and shield the Echo Base Defender. The ability to like really utilize that extra resource is awesome. Or sometimes he allows you to play above curve, so maybe it's getting a turn 2 Kanan Jarrus out there. That's pretty powerful. Or getting a turn 2 uh, Skiff, which we haven't talked about yet, but is in command, which has ambush, right? So normally you would spend 4 for the skiff, and it's a 4/4 ambush. Well, guess what? Alliance Dispatcher, boom, you cheat him into play, get that ambush just that little bit faster, and maybe you make a very equitable trade. He's super super good. Don't sleep on him. I think certain leaders are going to use him better than others, like Luke, but definitely something that people need to respect.
Nice.
The next one to talk about is Battlefield Marine. Best 2-drop in the game because it's a 3/3. That's it. There's no text on him, but he's still the best 2-drop in the game.
Yeah, I love it.
That's my. I don't even think that's a hot take. I think that that's pretty objective at this point. He's the best 2-drop in the game. Um, but yeah, it's just because his stats are wild. He gets 6 total stats for two resources. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's really good. And
Um,
Admiral
what's
Akbar.
next? Oh yes, Admiral Akbar. So I brought him up before. Yeah, it's great when you can cheat him out and give him a shield a turn early. But even without doing that, um, he's he's one of those units that people just don't read him correctly, and that is why maybe people undervalue him. He's not just a 1/4 with restore, and he doesn't just deal 1 damage. He deals damage to a unit equal to the number of units I control as the player playing it in its arena, right? So that means that
For the ground
the
arena.
target of the target of its effect, you check that arena, so he can hit spaceships, right? So if I play at an Admiral Akbar and I have 2 spaceships in the space arena, and I choose an enemy unit in the space arena, it checks that unit's arena, and for all the units under my control in that arena, that's how much it deals to that unit. So he does have reach into the space arena, which is what sometimes makes him incredibly powerful, because if you just have like 1 spaceship out there, the fact and he can like snipe down that 1 pesky health off of a spaceship, um, sometimes that's enough. Or the fact that he can count himself when you're playing him in the ground arena can also be pretty good, right? So if you've played a Battlefield Marine on the first turn and then play Admiral Akbar, you can pop his ability, deal 2 damage to a Viper probe droid, and then now all of a sudden they don't have a Viper probe droid, and you have a Battlefield Marine and an Admiral Akbar in play. It's pretty good.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I was always wondering about that. When played, dealing damage to a unit equal to the number of units you control in its arena. I always thought it was just Admiral Akbar's arena or like the ground arena. So I never even thought about space arena.
The Yeah, this card is definitely one of those harder ones to read. It's the it's is referring to the unit that you've chosen to deal damage. So you choose the unit to deal damage to, and then it deal damage equal to the number of unit in the one that you're dealing damage to, its arena. So you can choose a spaceship.
Okay, that's really good to know.
And then the next card is so good. It is a 4/3 Sentinel for 3. Boom.
Yeah,
Everything you need to know
yeah, you
right
gotta have
there.
3 of these in your deck for sure.
Yeah, if you're in these colors, you're playing this guy. That's really all there is to it. Um, I don't want to like skip over it in the sense of like, but there's nothing left to say. It's just good. Sentinel is a fantastic keyword, and this guy is more stats than his cost should normally give you, right? And the fact that he still has Sentinel, right? So like if you're thinking about like Cell Block Guard is a great example, right? He is a 3/3 Sentinel 4/3. This guy's a 4/3 Sentinel 4/3. So he's just good, and you're just gonna want to run him.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's really nothing else to say. It's just such a good card, kind of like the Battlefield Marine.
Just like the exactly like the Battlefield Marine, just good stats, and it allows the card to carry itself.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the last heroism card that we're going to talk about is U-wing reinforcements, and boy, there's a lot of words on that card, and people people definitely have to be careful that they read it carefully, because the nuances that are in that card's text matter. So searching the top 10 for up to 3 units with combined cost of 7 or less, and play each of them for, and the best word in the game, free. Yeah. So you play this one card, and you can potentially play any number of units as long as they add up to 7 or less. So um, you could get 2 Battlefield Marines and an Echo Base Defender. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So getting to play 3 cards again. Actually, we talked about Leia and cheating the action economy. This card does that too. You're always going to get at least 1 for 1, but most of the time you're getting a 2 for 1, maybe even a 3 for 1 if the cards are relevant enough and what you get off the top. And then, of course, the thing that makes it also powerful is that it's checking the cost of the card on the card's upper left corner. It doesn't care about aspect penalties. So that does mean that you can U-wing reinforcements cards that are out of aspect without paying the penalty because you play them for free. Aspect penalty is checked when you play the card, not when you search for a card. So a card's cost is constant while it's being searched for. It is a, for instance, if you wanted to do this on a Millennium Falcon and you didn't have a yellow base, the Millennium Falcon costs 3 when U-wing looks at it because it doesn't care about that aspect penalty. So that's something that's super cool about this card. But again, cheating the action economy always going to be very good, and I think that it makes this card an incredibly powerful late game tempo swing for your opponent as well. The fact that you can get 3 units out there really quickly. Um, yeah, just not there's not enough good things that I can say about this, or there's too many good things that I could say about this card. There's not enough negatives about the fact that some people didn't like it. My first take on it when I first saw it was that but it's random. It's like, yeah, but it's 10 cards is a lot. You're looking through 20% of your deck. Like,
Yeah.
that's a that's a chunk, okay? So you're gonna find some good options in there.
Oh yeah. I found a Han for 7 cost when I played this card last time, and I was like, I might as well do it.
Yeah, sometimes you're just like, oh, look, and that's another way to look at it is that this card can basically be looked at as another copy of some of those really, really good cards. So if you have Han Solo in your deck, Ewing Reinforcements effectively is just another copy of Han Solo, right? Because if you're digging 10 and you have 3 Hans in your deck, chances are you find one, and even if you miss and you don't find Han, you're going to find so many other good cards and you're going to get all of them out there. The only thing that I'd say is that the only downside of U-wing reinforcements is that you need to build your deck with some ratios in mind so that you can get 7 as frequently as possible, right? Like if you load your deck up with a bunch of 3 cost cards and you don't have enough 2 cost cards, then you might wind up looking and just only paying 6 resources worth of cards for free. And not that that's bad, it's just it's not optimizing the card. Yes, it's still a 2 for 1, but again, if you build your deck with enough 4 drops and 3 drops and 2 drops, now all of a sudden, boom, you can play a 3 and a 4, pays for the 7. Perfect.
Oh yeah. Such a good card. I really like it. And then
Um,
we've got single
Now we're in
aspect.
mono.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think the first card I chose was Colonel Yularen.
Yes.
Actually, I know the first card I chose was Colonel Yularen because he's super good. Um, I love the fact that the flavor text says including this one. That is flavor text in parentheses, by the way, for people that didn't know. It just means that, like when you see the hyperspace version of the card, it won't be on there, and that doesn't mean that the hyperspace versions are misprinted. It just hyperspace cards don't have uh, reminder text. That's all that is. Um, yeah, when you play a unit that's a command, heal 1 off of your base, and he's a 2/3 for 2. So he heals 1 when you play him, and then 1 every time you play another command unit.
And
I
you're
mean,
are you looking to usually like play 2 or 3 of these in a deck?
he's a unique, so I like 2. Two feels pretty comfortable, and he's a great sideboard card if you're just in green and you just happen to be in green. He's a great sideboard card. Oh, my opponent's playing a lot of aggressive stuff. Throw 2 of them in your deck. He comes out early. He can start healing, counteracting some of that raid that your opponent might be getting from their cards, and just kind of like unweaving that early aggression. He's great.
Nice. Yeah, I like including him a lot. That heal is really very valuable. And then we have the Consortium Star Viper.
Yeah. So This actually was a slept-on card. Everyone thought it sucked, and it does suck. But why is it on my list? It's on my list because it's in green, it's space, and it has enough damage to deal with an A-Wing. So you can use Energy Conversion Lab to ambush this guy into an A-Wing, and it only takes 1 damage. And if you have initiative, you restore 2. On top of that, that's just extra. That's just a cherry. So this card is good because of the meta. It's definitely worth talking about, and it's definitely a card that people need to be either sideboarding or mainboarding to account for, and to counteract some of that early aggression that lists can throw at you. Trading away those early space units is crucial. For instance, if your opponent is playing Sabine and they play the X-Wing, it's a 2/3. This ambushes into it and stays around. That's huge.
Okay. Yeah, never even thought about, you know, ambushing the Consortium Star Viper, but that's good because even you get that restore too as well if you have that initiative.
And even if you don't have initiative, the fact that it 2-for-1s all the space units that are hyper aggressive is really good.
Okay. Then we have the Escort Skiff.
Same thing. Ambush is strong, and the fact that it only cares about you having another command unit in play to gain ambush is basically, I mean, it's almost a guarantee, right? You're going to be playing Battlefield Marines. You're going to be playing Echo-based Defenders. You're going to be playing, you know, Yalarans and things. So yeah, he's just going to come out. He'll see another green unit, ambush with a 4/4, 4/4 resources.
Yeah, that's a what, turn 3 hopeful?
Yeah, turn 3, and that's why it's so good. Is that it's early ambush, and that's what makes the Consortium Star Viper plus ECL so powerful. Early ambush is the key.
Okay. And then next we have the Steadfast Battalion. Or fives.
Um, so we're talking about ECL. Energy Conversion Lab on this card is incredible. If you play your leader and then bring this out with Overwhelm and Ambush, it kills Boba Fett, right? So you can ambush a Boba Fett and kill a Boba Fett. You can ambush a Luke and kill a Luke. You can ambush a Leia. You know, there's so many units that this thing can overwhelm ambush because the on attack, if you control your leader, give a friendly, not another. It doesn't say another friendly. Give a friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase. Incredible. Um, without ECL, this card probably is not worth talking about. Definitely warrants that common slot. With ECL, giving it ambush, awesome card.
Okay. Yeah, the +2/+2 on this one is absolutely great for that
Makes it a
5 cost.
7/7 overwhelm. Yeah, 7/7 overwhelm ambush. When you think of it in that, if you think of it that for 5, right? 5 resources, 7/7 ambush overwhelm. That's what the card text actually, has the potential to say, and that's what makes it so strong.
Nice. And then lastly, one of the best ones I think we can talk about, resupply.
Yeah, resupply. Remember we talked about the technician and ramp. This is the only other ramp card, and this one is neutral aspect, so you can play it in heroism. So this allows you to get your Chewbacca's or your Luke's or your Leia's out there sooner. Although I don't think you're playing this in Leia, but it allows you to get them out sooner. And it's really good. And of course, it's also played in villainy as well. If they want to play a lot of ramp, they can play 3 uh, laser techs plus this and have 6 ways to ramp, and basically really ensures that you draw that early on. Um, and I did want to bring up that I was very, very sad that I couldn't put 6 cards, but so I'm going to bring an honorable mention up because there's really not a lot to say about resupply. The honorable mention that I wanted to bring up is Reinforcement Walker, 6/9. When played or on attack, you look at the top card. You can either draw it or discard it and heal 3 from your base. What an amazing card. The ability to fix your end game draw situation slash heal your base if you're up against aggro, and the fact that it happens on play and attack, it makes that card awesome. If you can get to the end game and play it and then start attacking with it, you can quickly unravel a lot of your opponent's aggression, and it trades because of that 9 health. It trades so well into so many things.
Ah, okay.
So that's a super honorable mention. And we'll round out the command color.
Nice. Hopefully, everybody learned a lot. That was very awesome. And thank you so much, Kyler, for explaining every one of these cards.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great one.